that Runbeck is this basically third-party company that the county just says, can you guys count this for us? And they process a bunch of crap in their private facilities and nobody can see inside because it's a private company. What?
We have to remember, our country is founded on the promise of freedom. Freedom for everybody.
Allegedly, Cooney wanted to use compulsory process to obtain more information. He improperly based that desire to do so in the large part on partisan news outlets.
A special prosecutor for the 2020 election? Sounds good to us. Here is what the president said, and we've got other activity saying we shouldn't just investigate 2020, which we know was fraudulent and stolen by multiple entities, including, sounds like the Chinese. We also have Abe Amadei, who's in Arizona, saying we should look at 2024 and 2022 because the same grift was continuing. And in Arizona, he sent a letter over to Pam Bondi, and we'll take a look at what was inside. But the president, causing a lot of people to get excited on this one, says 0 border crossings for the month for Trump versus 60,000 for sleepy, crooked Joe Biden, a man who lost the 2020 presidential election by a landslide. Biden was grossly incompetent, and the 2020 election was a total fraud. The evidence is massive and overwhelming. A special prosecutor must be appointed. This cannot be allowed to happen again in the United States of America. Let the work begin. What this crooked man and his corrupt cronies have done to our country in 4 years is grossly indescribable. Make America great again. Thank you, Mr. President, for that. We concur. Now, we saw Abe Amadei is also asking Pam Bondi to look into some other things. He's a congressman in Arizona who fought hard, man, to get that seat. Says on Tuesday, he announced that he sent a letter to Pam Bondi requesting an investigation into credible claims that the election service provider breached protocols during the 2020 election. Runbeck Election Services. And remember, we talked about this when we covered the Kari Lake saga, a lot of it here. And we saw that Runbeck is this basically third-party company that the county just says, can you guys count this for us? And they process a bunch of crap in their private facilities and nobody can see inside because it's a private company. What? Yeah. So he made his request as part of a commitment to fix our elections. So in his letter to Pam, Amadei specifically requested an investigation into the handling of the ballots by several Western states utilizing Runbeck Election Services during 2024. He wrote to Bondi saying that there are credible reports indicating that boxes of printed blank ballots from several Western states were improperly mixed in a warehouse with returned voted mail ballots that were in the process of being prepared for tabulation. All right. We've already seen this in prior stories here, where even our Border Patrol caught 20,000 fake IDs that were being imported in Detroit. We covered another one on a members only stream, another 15,000 caught in Cincinnati. This morning, we're asking ourselves, okay, if there's 35,000 fake IDs that have been caught that are being sent over from China so that they can be utilized, they work with barcodes in Michigan, by the way. They scan the barcodes. It works. Michigan. Yeah, you're good. All of that is being caught. What percentage is not being caught? So you caught 35,000 that we know of. I'm sure there's many more. How much got through? And what were those used for? He says this alarming situation raises serious questions about the security and the integrity of the election process in Arizona and Maricopa County and beyond. The commingling of blank ballots with live ballots poses a significant risk to the accuracy and to the fairness of election results. And it is crucial that we have confidence in the integrity of our elections, and any potential mishandling must be investigated. And so, Abe is asking for the following. He wants to know about the circumstances surrounding the mixing of blank ballots with voted ballots in Runbeck warehouse, right? The mail-in ballots come in, they give them to some third-party company, like a DoorDash driver, and then they do the counting and they bring it back over to you. And you can't see what they did. The security measures in place to prevent those incidents, were those followed, and the impact on the accuracy of Arizona elections. Other relevant factors and may have compromised 2024. On Monday, FBI Kash Patel announced that they turned over a bunch of records to Chuck Grassley, including an intelligence report where China apparently produced fake U.S. driver's licenses to rig the mail-in ballots in favor of Joe. We have known for years that our election processes in Arizona are flawed and ripe with opportunities for failure, including like when Kari Lake, when she was voting the day of, the machines all just didn't work. Half of them didn't work. In very red locations around Arizona. We looked at the numbers here, remember? Looked at the counties. Oh, all the churches. Huge delays. Weird how that works. So all of the day of votes had people with lines out the doors in Arizona, all in the same day. Weird. There appears to be a clear pattern in practice of security breakdowns, systems failures, and outright manipulation. Even Jenna Griswold over in Colorado posted the BIOS passwords on the internet. So we got to fix this. Amade pledged to Arizona's 8th district. He's going to take action, and we're excited to see that he is working on it. So that is out there. We also saw that Biden was out. So speaking of a rigged election, this is the dude that they said was our president, and he was out celebrating Juneteenth. And don't you miss Joe?
Except me. I've been through all of Africa. I used to be there for a long, long time. Africa. I've been to the origins of where slavery started, and to listen to them talk about it now, how things have changed. We have to remember, our country is founded on the promise of freedom. Freedom for everybody. For everybody.
Yeah, even black people from Africa, says Joe. Thanks for your incredible speech on Juneteenth. No, I'm being serious. Even black people, I swear. So here's another one.
For the United States of America. The United States of America.
Joe. Well, so he's having a tough time out there. They're still just giving him the mic, and he's just wandering around stages now. But here is a competent senior citizen named Chuck Grassley. And if, it's Friday night, you want to get out a blanket and a little pillow, that's allowed. It's now nap time with Chuck Grassley. But what he says here is very important, so I want to share a little bit of this with you.
Agency or, hundreds of thousands of employees in your agencies, you're at the top. You can't know what's going on at the bottom, and that you need to listen to whistleblowers. And they usually come forward with very important information. When they don't get that respect from the department heads, they usually end up coming to the Congress, and many of them come to the office of this senator. Just this year, to show you the importance of whistleblowers,
yes, I
made record public exposing the political origin of Arctic frost.
Yes.
Arctic frost is the case that ultimately became one of Jack Smith's cases against President Trump. Anti-Trump FBI agents and Department of Justice prosecutors started Arctic frost based on even more records that I've made public. Those very same anti-Trump FBI agents were involved in the investigation and prosecution of Peter Navarro, now serving with President Trump in the White House, like he did in the first Trump administration.
Yeah, when they attacked him and arrested him on Tarmac Airport.
That took on Peter Navarro were Assistant Special Agent in charge Thibault and Special Agent Walter Giagardina. Whistleblowers have also disclosed to me that J.P. Cooney wanted to potentially open yet another case on Trump. J.P. Cooney was Jack Smith's deputy. Allegedly, Cooney wanted to use compulsory process to obtain more information. He improperly based that desire to do so in the large part on partisan news outlets.
Yeah, the corrupt fake news media. So shout out to Chuck Grassley for delivering that banger of a message there. We're grateful to our whistleblowers and to Chuck Grassley for exposing just how corrupt the FBI was. And we're looking forward to Cash and Dan cleaning house any day now.